You think Ticketmaster makes its money from the price of your ticket. You see a number on the screen, $80, $120, $200, and you assume Ticketmaster is pocketing it. But here is the strange part. Most of that face price was never theirs to keep. The bulk of it passes straight through to the artist and the promoter putting on the show. Ticketmaster's real business is something else entirely. It is the fees stamped on top of the ticket, and its place in the middle of a flow of events it largely controls. The number you fume about, the face price, is mostly not even where the money ends up. Here is how it looks from the outside. You want to see a show. You go to one website. You pick a seat, you see a price, you pay. So the obvious story writes itself. Ticketmaster sells tickets the way a shop sells anything. It owns the inventory, it sets the price, it keeps the proceeds. The ticket is the product. The price is the revenue. And it feels that way because Ticketmaster is so often the only door. For a huge number of major venues and tours, if you want a legitimate ticket, you go through Ticketmaster. There frequently is not a second official option. That sense of being funneled through one company makes it natural to assume that company is the one cashing your whole payment. But follow the actual dollars and the picture splits in two. The face value of a concert ticket, the base price, before fees, largely flows to the event itself. By Ticketmaster's own account, that money goes mostly to the performers, then to cover the costs of staging the show, and only then to the promoter. So the number you fixate on, the price of the seat, is mostly passing through Ticketmaster on its way to someone else. The company says its own profit on a ticket is closer to 2% of the average ticket price. 2%. If the face price is mostly the artist's, and the company's own cut of a ticket is that thin, then the business cannot be living on the face price. It has to live somewhere else on the receipt. So where does the money really come from? Look at the line items below the face price: the service fee, the facility fee, the order processing fee. Those add-ons, stacked on top of the base ticket, are where the ticketing company's revenue concentrates. And they are not small. A government study of a sample of events found total fees averaging about 27% of a ticket's price on the primary market, and about 31% on the resale market. Later analysis of recent concerts found average fees near 28% of face value. So on a $100 ticket, you are often paying something close to $130, and that extra 30 is a different kind of money than the 100. The 100 is mostly the artists. The 30 is where the platform lives. Now watch what happens when you stop looking at one receipt and look at the whole company. Ticketmaster is part of Live Nation Entertainment, which also promotes the concerts themselves. In fiscal 2024, Live Nation took in about $23 billion in total revenue. And the concerts business, the glamorous part, the tours, the stadiums, the festivals, was by far the biggest piece of that. About $19 billion, roughly 82% of all revenue. You would think that is where the profit is. It is not. The concerts segment threw off only about $530 million of adjusted operating income on $19 billion in revenue. That is a margin of about 2.8%, and the company called that a record. Putting on live shows is a high-volume, thin-margin grind. Now look at ticketing. The ticketing segment brought in about $3 billion in 2024, only about 13% of company revenue, a small slice next to the concerts giant. But it produced about $1.1 billion of adjusted operating income. Read those two numbers together. The ticketing business earned more than double the profit of the concerts business, on less than a sixth of the revenue. Its margin runs in the high 30s%, against concerts at under 3%. The part everyone can see the show is the low-margin part. The part nobody thinks about, the fee on the ticket, is where the rich margin sits. Put it in plain terms. Every dollar of revenue the concerts business takes in throws off under 3 cents of profit. Every dollar the ticketing business takes in throws off something like 38 cents. A different kind of business hides inside the same company. And it is not because ticketing is small. It moved enormous volume in 2024 with hundreds of millions of fee-bearing tickets passing through its systems. This is a high margin earned at massive scale, the rarest combination a business can have. So why does this work? Why can a fee on top be a far better business than the ticket itself? And why does the same company bother running the low-margin concerts at all? Because the pieces feed each other in a loop, and the fee is only the most visible part of it. Start with the platform's position in the flow. Ticketmaster signs long-term ticketing agreements with venues. A venue under one of those agreements routes its ticket sales through the platform. So Ticketmaster does not have to own the show or carry the risk of the show. It sits in the middle of an enormous flow of tickets and earns a fee on that flow. In 2024, about 331 million fee-bearing tickets passed through its systems, out of more than 600 million tickets total. It is a take-rate business. The value is not the seat. It is being the toll booth the seat has to pass through. And here is the elegant part of the fee. The company says it keeps only a small share of the service charge. That the venue normally takes around 2/3 of it, and the ticketing company keeps a stated percentage, perhaps in the range of 5 to 7% of the total ticket price. That sounds modest. But modest, multiplied across hundreds of millions of tickets, with almost no extra cost per ticket, is exactly how you get a high 30s profit margin. The platform does not manufacture anything. The seat already exists. The show is already booked. Once the system is built, one more ticket sold through it costs almost nothing to process. So the fee revenue falls hard toward the bottom line, the same way a warehouse club's membership fee does, the same way any toll does once the road is paid for. And notice why the company structures it as a small slice of a big flow. A take rate is invisible by design. Nobody refuses to buy a ticket over a few percent buried inside a charge they were going to pay anyway. But that small percentage, applied across hundreds of millions of tickets a year, with the venue's 2/3 keeping the venue locked into its agreement, is what makes the arrangement durable. The venue gets paid to send its tickets through the platform gets paid on that flow. Both are bound to the same pipe, and the fan funds both. Then there is the second turn of the meter. Live Nation and Ticketmaster operate across both the primary sale, the first time a ticket is sold, and the resale or secondary market, where fans buy and sell to each other. A ticket can be sold once, then resold, and the platform can collect a fee on each transaction, the same seat generating revenue more than once, passing through the same marketplace twice. For a take-rate business, the resale market is not a threat to the first sale. It is a second turn of the meter on the very same seat. And notice who carries the risk here and who does not. The artist gambles on whether the tour sells. The promoter fronts the money to stage it. The venue fills its calendar and hopes for a crowd. But the platform in the middle gets paid on each ticket that moves, whether the show is a triumph or a disappointment, because its fee is a percentage of the flow, not a bet on the outcome. It is the one party in the building that does not need the night to be a hit. Now put the profit of the three segments side by side, because the shape is the whole story. Concerts, the giant in the spotlight, earned a margin under 3%. Ticketing earned in the high 30s. And there is a third segment that earns more than either. Sponsorship and advertising was only about $1.2 billion of revenue in 2020, for about 5% of the whole company, but it threw off about $760 million of profit, at a margin in the low 60s%. The highest margin of all. Add ticketing and sponsorship together, the two quiet segments, and you get roughly 18% of the revenue, but the clear majority of the profit. The $19 billion concert business, for all its noise, contributed the smaller share. The money is sitting in the segments nobody buys a ticket to see. But the deepest reason is the one the financials only hint at: vertical integration. The same company promotes the tour, often controls or has relationships with the venue, runs the ticketing, and sells the sponsorship around it. Why is sponsorship the richest margin of the three? Because once you control the artists, the tours, the venues, and the ticketing, you control the audience, and an audience is exactly what a sponsor is paying for. A brand that wants to reach millions of music fans does not have to find them one by one. It buys access to the whole flow at once, from the company that owns the flow. The concerts are run near break, even on purpose, because they are what generates that flow in the first place. And the flow is what the high-margin businesses, ticketing and sponsorship, feed on. The show is the bait. The fee and the sponsorship are the business. Each part makes the others more valuable, which is exactly why the company keeps all of them under one roof. A standalone promoter could not earn the ticketing margin. A standalone ticketing firm could not sell the sponsorship. Bolt them together and each one becomes worth more than it was alone. That is the flywheel, not the ticket. Now, This position has made the company the focus of intense public and government scrutiny, and I want to be precise here, because this is a live legal matter and the facts matter. In May 2024, the United States Department of Justice, joined by dozens of states, filed a civil antitrust lawsuit against Live Nation and Ticketmaster. The suit alleged that the company unlawfully dominates live entertainment, and it asked the court, among other remedies, to break the company up by forcing it to sell Ticketmaster. Live Nation denied the allegations and said it would defend itself. The case went to trial, and in April 2026 a jury in New York returned a verdict for the states. Live Nation publicly responded that the verdict was, in its words, not the last word on the matter, pointed to outstanding motions, said it intended to appeal, and argued the damages were far smaller than headlines suggested. So the matter is still in litigation. I am not here to tell you who is right. The courts will settle that. I am telling you what the structure is, and why so many people are fighting over it. When the fight is over the toll booth, it is because the toll booth is where the money is. So here is what Ticketmaster really is. Not a shop that sells you a ticket and keeps the price. It is a platform that sits in the middle of live events, passes most of the face value through to the artist, and earns its keep on the fees layered on top, on its control of the flow of tickets, and on the sponsorship that flow makes possible. The face price is the part you see and resent. The money is in the parts you do not. The fee and the flywheel behind it. And once you can see that shape, you start spotting it everywhere. This is the platform take rate pattern, and it runs through the whole modern economy. Do not own the product. Own the place the product has to pass through, and charge for passage, sometimes twice, on the way out and on the way back. The marketplace that never touches the inventory. The app store that takes a cut of every sale it did not make. The booking site standing between you and a hotel it does not own. The delivery app that owns no kitchen. In every one of them, the money is not in the thing being sold, it is in being the gate the thing has to go through. Next time, we follow that gate right into your pocket, the card in your wallet that earns its issuer money every single time you tap it, from a fee you never see in a merchant who quietly pays it. And the money is not where you swipe.